Hello there. What is going on, everybody? It is Star Trek time, and we have count 'em, two new starships from FanHome's official Starships Collection. We are going to be looking at the USS Protostar, as seen in Star Trek Prodigy, as well as the incredibly mysterious and kind of weird USS Credence from Star Trek Discovery. This one I am especially interested to get unboxed because the assembly options for this one are supposedly very, very out of this world. No pun intended. All right, we're going to go ahead and get these open. If you're interested in either of these ships or any of the other Star Trek ships from the official Starships collection, FanHome has this system where you sign up monthly, you get like a new ship, and it's pretty cool. I'm going to have a link for it in the description below. Big thanks to FanHome for sending these out for review. We're going to take a look at these, and we'll start with the USS Protostar. All right, now this is a little bit of a larger box. This is certainly the larger of the two. Not a whole lot of box designs on the back, but in case you were wondering what the sides of the box look like, there we go. All right, so we're going to get this one open. And this one's a pretty interesting one because, again, they're showing you the ship from the bottom up. Typically, this is not how you will have it displayed. Now, these are pretty cool ships. I have quite a few of them. We've been reviewing these FanHome ships for a while. I have actually brought them into work. I have the entire collection like set up at my desk at work, and a lot of people have commented on them, and they're like, "Whoa, what is all this?" And it is pretty cool. Each one is going to have a stand. You're going to get this cool book in here that is going to give you a little bit of information about the Protostar. This is and this is both like in canon stuff as well as like behind the scenes stuff as what went into designing this ship, what some of the inspirations were, designer notes, some kind of mock artwork and stuff like that of the different concept art and all kinds of really cool stuff that went into designing this. And each ship is going to have a book similar to this. All right, and we'll go ahead and get this open. And there we go. We have the Protostar. Now, this is kind of large, as we can see here now. Again, packed very, very carefully. We also have this part of the stand, and we have the bottom part of the stand. And now this is going to be a felt bottom and a kind of a weighted material here. And this will go in here, and we'll hold the ship in place. More on that in a little bit. We're going to go ahead and get this out and take a closer look at it. That's the empty box. All right, so here we have the whole ship. Now, this one is pretty large. It is definitely one of the larger ships that we've looked at from this collection, and part of that is that it's both longer width and length. Now, there's a lot of detail on here. We're going to start with the top first. If you look closely here, you will see we do have NX76884. And then we have the USS Protostar, as well as the decals are going to be all across this thing. There's great paint applications and decals, and if I can get the light to kind of get parts of the hull just right here, you can see that there are subtle panel lines and subtle distinctions all over the saucer section. There's a lot of detail, and sometimes it's hard to make sure that detail shows up on camera. So I'm kind of moving this around so you guys can kind of see it up close. As we move towards the back of the ship, again, we do have our gray and blue. And again, you're not just getting two-tone ships. You're going to get all the colors that typically you will see. Now, this ship is a little different than some of the others that we've seen in that it doesn't have any of the clear acrylic bits on the nacelles, but it makes up for it by having extra large nacelles. Now, the detail on these are very, very nice. All the paint applications on here look flawless. This is really pretty. It's very well designed, and it's big. Even though I've said that a couple of times, as far as how much shelf space this is going to take up, it's going to take up quite a bit. But yeah, now as we switch to the underside, we do have a whole lot of like armored deck plating. Now, I have not watched Prodigy yet, so I can't really talk about what the ship does on the show. It's one of the only Star Trek shows I haven't seen, but I'm planning to rectify that. But I am currently on a Deep Space Nine rewatch right now, and as is the case with the older shows, they tend to take a long time to get through them. Again, you're looking at hour-long shows with like almost 30 episodes per season, so it's a lot to get through. But this is a really cool part. This, I think the light is hitting it just right here. If you look at it straight in the dark, you'll just see gray. But when the light hits it, you can see these metallic bits all over that are really, really cool. So it will go on the stand nicely. Now, one thing that's excellent about this stand is it's angled up more. So this is going to be one of those ships, because some of them are kind of straight, but this one is a lot more going upwards, which is also very cool. So, yeah. All right, next up, it is the USS Credence NCC 2604 from Star Trek Discovery. This is one of those ships that has that futuristic technology where everything is like just floating around. It's held together by force fields and stuff. And while this is really cool, it's not my favorite style of ship, because for this reason, as you can see, there's going to be like acrylic pieces trying to hold everything together. And since I tend to enjoy miniatures, collectibles, and toys, a ship like this is hard to make a toy out of because it would all just fall down, right? So like as you can see, there's a lot of extra support pieces in here. So this is going to be maybe the most unique ship and probably one of the most difficult ships for them to make. So I'm really excited to get this one open and take a look at it. I have heard that this one is a doozy. So I don't know what a doozy means in this case, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Either way, I think it's going to be a conversation piece. We have our booklet here. Again, going to give us all kinds of information about this Credence class vessel. You know, that's the thing with Star Trek. The first of each ship line is named after the class. Or is it the other way around, where the class is named after the first ship? If I made a USS Crabbok, would that ship then be Crabbok class? Or if I wanted to name a ship Crabbok, would I have to wait for the Crabbok class to be invented, right? And who knows? Who knows how it's going to be? Wow, there's some really cool concept art in this one especially, so I'll read over that in more detail later. All right, so opening this one up, again, protected really well. This one is one you have to assemble. Look at all the pieces. Look at all of that. And now there aren't instructions, but I'm guessing it's going to be fairly self-explanatory. Right, look at that. Okay, so we have this here. I think this is the underside. This is the top, right? We have so this is the top. Let's pull everything out first. Let's do that. We've got this piece. Now this piece is heavy. I'm guessing this is a support or a balancing piece. We have this piece, which is probably going to go in the stand. Now sometimes you can get the stands mixed up. When I took my whole collection and relocated it to work, I will admit that the stands all kind of got intermingled, and I spent way too much time trying to figure out which stand was which. So, okay, we've got our stand here, and then we've got this piece, and then we've got this little tiny piece, and then one more extra little tiny piece. That one is going to be, yeah, I told you it was a doozy. I wasn't kidding. That's a doozy. All right. Whew. Is there, hold on. So now let me go back to this because I wanted to see if there was like a recommended instruction or if this is more of just a puzzle to assemble. This looks like more like it's concept art and not specifically, although this will probably help you figure out how everything goes together, right? Wow. Yeah. I think the concept art is actually going to be really helpful in this one. So, yeah, we're going to see. Obviously, we need this part in here, like so, and then we can probably start putting these in something like that. I think this part faces forward, and I'm using this part as a kind of a quick guide. Looks like this part goes here. Looks like this part goes around on top, like that. There we go. And then it looks like we have these last two pieces more or less resting on here. Maybe they slide in this way. Like something like that. like that maybe. Oh boy, yeah, this. Okay, so normally this is also going to be one of those where I have to zoom in a little bit. There we go. Where I have to change my policy, because I do have a policy where I tell people, if you like any of the ships you see on display, you're allowed to touch them because you can take them off of the stand. But this one is not good. It's not good. Oh, I don't like to give bad reviews on things, but this thing is a mess. What in the world? Oh, goodness gracious. How? Why? Yeah, now these are definitely going at an angle, right? As you can see, like right there, I think it needs to be like this kind of angle. Like that. Yeah, I think it needs to be kind of like that. Oh, and it just fell. Oh, man, these are going to get lost. Honestly, it's probably something I might want to glue, realistically. All right. All right, so that goes right there. And this part goes right there. And that's, there we go. All right, we've got it. That's the Credence. Jeez Louise. Let's get a closer look. All right, so now normally I would pick the ship up and show it to you, but I really kind of can't do that here without the whole thing falling apart. So I'm just trying to move it around a little bit, to give you an idea of all of this. And again, all of these pieces just come right off. You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but this is kind of how it looks. This matches the picture. I don't know why they didn't just glue these in, right? I mean, I guess I can go ahead and do that. Like, especially these two pieces right here. Like, this should have all been one piece. I don't know why they made these separate pieces. It's not like I'm going to want to play with it to the extent where I'm going to want the pieces to go like, whee, whee, escape pods launch. Like, it's not that kind of toy. I kind of want the whole piece to be one thing so that I can pick it up and fly around with it. All right, so here's the USS Credence. And again, this one is this is a heavy piece. This is a heavy, like, metal piece. This one is like metal. Now the rest of the stuff is the lighter plastic. So this one, again, this part has the acrylics inside, and we do have, underneath we have the paint applications. More of these on the top. The spectacle of this thing is much less about the paint because there's really very little paint on here. There is, as you can see, there's definitely a deck plating sort of pattern that's on here, but really no paint applications outside of just that overall pattern. And then here, again, very, very, very little paint on this. And that's just, that's like how the ship looks, right? It's kind of plain. Let me pull these off before they fly away on me. And here's the underside of that. It's pretty streamlined, pretty futuristic, but also, like, it's just a boring paint job, and I'm not blaming FanHome for that. That's just the way the ship looks. This this blue part here is a little bit like supposed to be like a light. It could be a little brighter, but this in theory, like if they wanted to make it even fancier, that could have been like a clear acrylic. Possibly, but it would have been tricky to get that in there. And you're already using a whole lot of extra pieces and design stuff to make this thing work. So I give them credit for trying to make this work because this had to have been a hard ship to do. I'm just not crazy about the application of it, especially these pieces right here. Like that, like it should have just been two pieces. You could have had like this back piece and then like this piece in the front could have been like pre-assembled. Not super crazy about all of this. And then also realistically, this whole thing, again, I could probably glue it together, but it'd be nice to be able to pick the whole thing up and then fly around with it. But like if I'm going to bring this to work, I need to get a bag and put it in a Ziploc or something before I transport it because it's not going to stay together. Pieces are going to get lost. And this back part is really, really wobbly. It's neat though. It's very neat, but just definitely one of my least favorite ships from the collection because of the wobbliness of the whole thing. And then just to give you a sense of scale, there's the Credence next to the Protostar, and the Protostar is much, much bigger. you know, like you can see, like it's almost twice as long and almost twice as wide. I'd say an extra 50 to 75% longer and wider in both respects. But this one is definitely more like this is generally the scale how most of the ships are as far as overall, not scale, but like as far as the imprints or how much position they're going to take up on your shelf. Like maybe 1 out of every 7 or 8 are going to be like larger, kind of like the Protostar here, but most of them are in this kind of like 6-7 inch kind of rectangular area, whereas a handful are going to be much larger. So this one, it's nice to have some of these, especially when you line them up all on a shelf. Most of the ships are around this size. Everyone, like every 5th or 6th one is going to be like a bigger one that takes up, you know, a different amount of displacement and space on your shelf. So it kind of gives your fleet a cool looking breakup. So not every ship looks exactly the same. And that's definitely one thing you get from this collection. All right, so this has been a look at the USS Credence and the USS Protostar from the official Starships Collection from FanHome. This is a really cool whole set of starships, and most of them are really, really cool. There have been only a handful that I didn't like. I'd say like at least 95% of them I really, really like. And even though the Credence is not one of my favorites, I still have to give them credit because this was a difficult one to design, I'm sure. And it's going to look cool as long as nobody touches it. And so it's going to, again, break up the line of starships. So it's a cool part of the collection, even though it's not one of my favorite ships. Still a cool one to have. If you're interested in checking out the FanHome Starships Collection, you can check out the link in the video description below. Big thanks to FanHome and big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.